alone.
Did you know that purchasing your own individual life insurance policy is a much more beneficial plan than taking the life insurance policy offered by the bank? Would you like to know more? Contact us at Sagicor Life Inc. Sagicor keeps its promise to you. Wise financial thinking for life.
I had a really good time tonight.
So did I.
Life moves fast. Be prepared with Sagicor. Learn more at sagicorlife.com.
Dr. Saunders, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Rhonda. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for showing up. I am sure that you have a lot going on, especially in these times. So again, let me say thank you. But let's start with the lady before she became Dr. Saunders. Where did you grow up, Dr. Saunders? And did you have siblings?
Yes, I grew up initially I grew up on Antelope Street. And I think we lived there until I turned, I'd say about 10 years old. And then we moved to where I currently live. I managed to get a property right next door to my mom's property where I grew up. And that's on North Creek Road. And I still live there. That's my home. I built it, and it's my family home as well. I have I'm sister to 8 other siblings, and I am the second eldest child. So everybody else comes after me. However, I have a huge family because my mother, bless her heart, she passed away. But my mom raised a lot of children, and so we call each other brothers and sisters because she took care of them. Some of them are, people say stepbrother, but I don't refer stepsister, stepbrother. I call everybody my brother and sister because my mom raised them as her own children. So I have a huge family.
Excellent. What was it like growing up in that time in your neighborhood, especially in a home with so many children?
I would say it was really, for me, it is what really shaped the person that I am in terms of I come from a collectivist type of society where you share responsibilities, you look out for each other, you protect each other. You basically, because I was the second eldest, I was kind of like the mother hen, taking care of everybody, ensuring that you set good example, good standards so that the others can follow. And our house was always full with children, full with my sisters and brothers would have their friends over, and my mom loved to cook. And because she loved to cook and feed everybody, our house was never out of a friend or a family staying with us.
Where did you go to elementary and high school?
Okay, I went to Grace Primary School. So I did I don't want to say my full primary, I never attended preschool. So I started primary school very early, and then I got jumped a couple classes. So I graduated at the age of 10, and I started Palote. I was only 10 years old. And my birthday is almost to the end of the year. I'm on the 28th of December. So my 11th birthday came that same year. Well, you start school in September, and then I turned 11 the very same year.
What was that experience like for you, being so young in a school like that amongst these girls that are obviously much older than you are?
I didn't give it much thought, but the more I share my story with others and they ask that question, I realize that, when people say it, they tend to imply that I missed out a part of my life, but I really didn't. I think I had my full exposure, full experience, though I was younger. But in my time, I was always older in person, not in age. I had huge responsibilities as a second eldest child, and most of it was that mothering, and learning to do the dishes, washing, ironing, doing all that stuff. And I even held, when I was in high school, I started to do a summer job, and then I kept that job during school year as well. So I think I was always before my time. I was always doing things way before my time. And so my level of maturity even though it wasn't physical, it was my emotional maturity and my ability to cope with older folks was already existing.
Who had the most influence over your life when you say your mother or your father? Which one would it be and why?
Definitely my mother. I grew up with my mom. My dad had a presence in my life. I will never say no. I knew who my dad was. My mom ensured that the type of person my mother was. She ensured that we fostered a relationship with my father. And I actually was there until his death, until he took his last breath anyway. But my mom, I would say, had the greatest influence in my life. The things she asked that we do. My mom was only educated, she was very brilliant, but she was only educated back in those days up to standard 6, and that's by choice. The parents, they didn't want to send them away. And she had lost her mom very early, so she grew up with a foster mom who took care of her, but had other kids as well. And I think the lessons, she was a very hard worker. A lot of people knew my mom. My mom worked in the service industry as a cook, and she was very friendly and responsive. And for years, people knew her because it was a bus terminal that she worked. And so a lot of people traversed and passed through and they knew her. But I think most of the lessons that she taught us, honesty, integrity, give, even if you have very little, you give, you share, volunteerism, contribution. She didn't go to church every time, but she ensured that we were clean, fed, and went to church every Sunday. And then my grandmother took us to church 3 times a day on Sunday, and twice during the week we go to prayer meeting and stuff. So my mom, even though she wasn't there physically at church, she ensured that we had to go. That was part of her routine as well. And then she stressed education. She really felt that education was important, and she made sure she did her best to get us through school.
What was it like for you going to school and managing your summer job or your after school job? What was that chore like for you?
My first job was right there at the bus terminal, Venus bus terminal, where my mom worked. And I was only 14 years old. Actually, I already had entered 4th form, actually. And I kept that job all throughout 6th form. I worked from Friday evenings, 1 o'clock. When I got out of high school, I had 6th form schedule. And so no classes in the afternoon by choice. I selected my classes. So I went to work from 1 o'clock on Friday till 9 in the night. My mom, of course, or my aunt, because my aunt worked there too, they would be at work. So we left together. So I didn't have to worry about safety. And then back in those times, to be honest, we felt safe. I lived like 50 minutes walking distance from the job. And then Saturday, I worked 6 o'clock in the morning till 2. And when I left work, I had to go home and do washing, and we did not have washing machine right away. We got washing machine a lot long after. And even though we wash, my mom had this thing, you still wash before you put it in the washing machine, and you rinse outside of the washing machine and pin them out. And then on Sunday, my shift was 6 to 2 again. So if I changed my Saturday shift, it would be 1 to 9. So I think, you asked me earlier, what all I learned from my mom. I learned time management because I had to manage my time. I had a full academic scholarship from Shell Belize for junior college, and I had to maintain and I stayed on a roll all throughout that time with my job and that schedule that I told you, and that did not exempt me from my chores at home.
What in that time kept you on your path? Because as a young, bright girl, there's lots of distractions that can come your way. But it seemed that you never deviated from whatever plan you had. What kept you there?
Yeah, and I think that is where the age came in, because, I looked around and I had a couple of friends who at that time, quite a few of my friends got pregnant at the age of 14. Actually, 14 was the 18 then. And they got pregnant. But I one of the things that my mom kept saying, she didn't wish for any of us to have a lot of children like she did, because it did not help her to give us all the things. She felt she didn't give us everything that we needed. And by having so many children so early, she felt, my mom passed away at the age of 54, very young. So we lost mommy very young. And the same thing, she always felt she wanted to see us all the way through school and everything. And fortunately for me, she saw up until I did my PhD, she was there. But, in other instances, she felt she wasn't able to provide for everybody. She felt that there was much more she could do had she not chosen to have so many children. And I think maybe that kept me on my path.
When you finished sixth form, did you go straight away to further your education, or did you take a break?
Not at all. So I was 17 years old. I said I got a full academic scholarship from Shell Belize. Actually, I did my office practice. Back then, we did office practice for 2 weeks. And for some reason, I left a very good impression on, I remember the man's name was Skip. I think that's the nickname they call him. He was in charge. And, I started sixth form. My mom and my dad pooled their resources together, and I started. And like 2 weeks after I started school, I get this call. I wasn't at home. My mom took the call that Mr. Skip had decided to pay fully for my school. And my sister that comes right after me also got a full scholarship because of that guy. We had the grades, and I guess he just took an interest in us. And I got full scholarship. Rhonda, I'll tell you, I was so blessed. I got my full scholarship. The scholarship included my books, tuition. I got a little stipend, and I could even buy clothing because, at sixth form, you have to wear no more uniform. So I think they fully understood. I had no question. All I had to do, keep my grades up, and I had to sign that whenever I finished with my books, I could not sell them. I had to find another friend, and you found the friend. You didn't have to look too far. Find another deserving person and give them your books. That was the deal. So nothing hard to do. When I finished sixth form, to be honest, I really, really thought I wanted to be a lawyer. That was what my heart was saying. I was engaged in debate at junior college. I was active in student council. I felt I was ready to be a lawyer, but mommy had no money and no more Skip. Skip didn't say he would pay for that. So July 1st, so I graduate May in the sixth form, and then I continued that same summer job at the bus terminal, and I wasn't home again, but back in those days, they call you plus they write you a letter. I got a letter, and I started 4th of July, 1998. Sorry, yeah, 98? No, sorry, 1992. And I started my career with Social Security, and I worked there for 6 years. And in that time, you had to wait for seniority to be promoted. But Charmaine, again, I just break all the rules as I go along. And by year 3, I was promoted to the very senior position of inspector, and I had to transfer to Corozal. That's where I met my husband, actually. When I was transferred there, I met my husband. And the conditions I stipulated when he asked me to marry him, we got engaged. We had like a whirlwind thing, and he asked me like in 3 months to marry him. I said, listen, I am working because I want to raise enough money to go and study. And if you're willing to support that, and I told him I want to do all the way up to my PhD. By then I gave up on the idea of studying law. And he said, yes. I said, well, that's the condition that I will say yes to the marriage. And that's what I did. And actually, he walked in with me to DSC to borrow money to do my first degree, my bachelor's degree. I had to take out a loan, and he co-signed for me, he and my mom. And he paid the interest, and then I went to study. So that took me to Murray State University, where I pursued a bachelor's in computer information system. And I did every degree that I did a double major. So I did that and business as well, because I really wanted to come back home. I couldn't see myself studying and living in the US. And then, of course, I had already committed through marriage to my husband, who was here. And he had a long career, ongoing career, which he still continues to work with the government of Belize as a custom officer.
You know, it's interesting because it seems that from the onset, you knew where you were going and nothing would take you off your path. A lot of times when marriage comes to the table, a lot of people, they feel that they have to choose one or the other, or else they will lose both, perhaps. But you didn't have any fear, it seemed. You were set within yourself that, yeah, this is a great deal, but I have a greater deal in place for myself. For somebody that is having difficulty making that decision, what would you say to him or her?
Determine when I want something. But I also know my husband, when I went to pursue, like the second year, I actually went away and I was supposed to do my degree in 4 years, but I completed that degree in 2. And on my second year, my husband was offered, he wanted, with all the passion in his life, he wanted to be a nurse. And he got a scholarship to go study nursing in Cuba. He made his own decision, of course, with discussion. We both spoke about it, and I don't think it was the best decision, but he decided that he would not take up the scholarship. He would stay home, and somebody had to cover the interest portion of my loan. So he chose to do that. And, you know, sometimes I still ask, you know, do you have any regrets? Because for me, I knew what I wanted and I had expressed that. That was on the table. And we were both we were solid individuals. We were able to discuss it. We were very young. I think we got married. I was younger than he. Maybe I was 20 and he was 21, not too old. But we both knew what we wanted and we agreed to those terms. It was not the easiest, being so young either. We had our challenges through the marriage as well, being so far apart. But we stayed focused. While I was there, I got several scholarships, but it would have covered my master's degree. There was a very new program for the university called Telecommunication Systems Management. And the program was so new, they offered different types of scholarships, and I quickly qualified for those. And I told my husband, well, initially we had bargained to do 4 years for my bachelor's, and I did it in 2. And this master's will take me 1 year and a semester summer. I normally came home in summer, but I wasn't going to be able to come home because I am expediting the process to complete the master's degree in telecommunication. And we agreed to that too, and we did it. So I think if somebody is experiencing the challenge, you both have to understand, one of the things I didn't do, even as an individual now, I will seek advice from key persons. I don't ask every and anybody for advice, but I still hold true to my heart that I ultimately have to make the decision, and whatever decisions I make, I have to be able to live with it. So even though I may consult and ask, and I'm very limited in my scope of who I ask as well, I will use that to make a decision, but that is not where the ultimate decision will lie. I don't depend on others to make decisions, particularly for great life moments. I recognize very early I have to take that responsibility. And I think my husband has the same approach to life, you know. We don't include everybody in the decision making that will change. Even though we were very young, people told us, oh, all kinds of things. You're too young, your marriage won't last. We have celebrated 24 years a few months ago of marriage, you know. It's not without its problem, but if we paid attention to everything people told us when we were approaching that decision-making aspect in our lives, I don't think we would have done it. We would, even my dad, I remember my dad said, no way you're going to survive your marriage if you go so young. You're going and he's going. 4 years is a long time. But see, even when we decided on 4, I only needed 3, so it's definitely, both persons have to be strong enough to make decisions and take that responsibility very seriously. And you cannot rely on anybody outside of your marriage to make that decision for you.
Well, we never know what the future is going to bring to you. What we're going to do, we're going to take a break and be back.
I chose Galen because of its strong reputation, great scholarships.
I came because I can take all my classes online.
Because Galen University opens doors to the outside world.
Their course offering in tourism.
It gives me more opportunity to become who I want to be.
If you want to connect with your inner champion to make the world a better place, then Galen is right for you.
Did you know that it's best to keep the lumber stored in a dry place?
At KT Enterprises, all our wood is stored in an enclosed space to provide our clients with the highest quality.
We allow you to personally select your lumber if you choose, and we deliver countrywide.
Be it deck board, beams, and imported hardwoods such as red oak and white ash. At KT Enterprises, we provide you with the highest grade in treated pine, construction grade plywood, and imported hardwood, delivered to your door.
We continue to build Belize by reforesting its pine forest. Visit us today at 2.3 miles Iguana Creek Road or give us a call at 671-0114 or 672-0114.
At NextGen, we work for you. Because despite you not being able to be together, we can keep you connected, united, talking to each other, seeing each other, communicating with each other. Stay connected with NextGen.
NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
At West-Trac Belize City, we are looking to help you save both your time and money. We've also improved our stock levels to ensure we have everything you might need for your automotive or agricultural needs. Additionally, West-Trac has added heavy-duty and industrial parts to keep your trucks and equipment running. At West-Trac Belize City, we understand that your time is important, so we want to bring our services to you at your convenience. Now you can simply send us a message on WhatsApp or Facebook and we will be right there to help with any questions you may have.
Free t-shirt? The answer is yes! Get a free t-shirt at Caribbean Tire with every Valvoline oil change. Caribbean Tire, taking you home safely.
Welcome back to Morning Matters. Dr. Saunders in with us, explaining to us how she managed to be where she is today. Dr. Saunders, welcome back.
In this segment, I want to know, before we move on too much into this segment, I want to know, how did you decide on your course of studies?
Okay, I think sometime back in maybe 95, I was asked, because when we were hired in 92, back then only a few of us had junior college, an associate degree. And for some reason, there was no computers on the desk. I think everything we did was manual. But sometime in 1995, they hired a manager information systems, and he was hired to convert the physical files to electronic files. And I was interested, and I used to stay back and watch him connect. He did a lot of the networking and stuff, and I just quickly learned to do stuff. And I helped, well, they hired some staff to data enter, and I was responsible to along with my duties, I had oversight of those staff. But it kept interesting me, and whenever the guy was based in Belmopan, and every time he called, he spoke to me. Like, he would tell me, do this, help him connect stuff. And I started to like computers. I like what it could do. I had already been exposed from high school. At junior college, I was doing programming, and I like the logic, everything just flew. There was just a flow for me. So I decided to apply for a scholarship. And I remember it was in Little Rock, Arkansas, and you had a list of priorities, and a girl, well, I was shortlisted, and it was going to be from 2 of us to get the scholarship. Already got accepted into the university to do computer science, as I told you. But I was called back to say I didn't get the scholarship. The young lady wanted to pursue medicine, and she got it. And I was devastated, and I was already with my husband, and I told him, I don't know what else to do. You make good grades, you come so close, and there's only one scholarship, 2 of us, and then what happens to no runner-up, no second chance, And my husband said, let us go to DFC, and we went to DFC. But we were living in Corozal, and when we went there, the young man told us, and again, sometimes information, he said, computer is on the top of the list because we were approaching Y2K. And he said, but they don't sponsor for universities in the US. You have to study in Belize or the Caribbean. But I already had applied, and, I was getting into a US university. But my husband didn't give up, and he said, I have a friend at DFC, and he met the guy. The guy passed away now, Emerson Burke. And he said, I went to school with him, I'll ask him. And the guy made the appointment and everything for us, and the same day we got the loan.
What did you get your PhD in?
My PhD is in organization and management and IT management. I double majored as well.
Okay, you have studied and made
a professional career out of teaching courses surrounding management, international business, marketing, etc. Do you feel that there has been much interest from students when it comes to these classes?
Definitely. I am in a very good position in that our university has pioneered online learning. We've pioneered it. We've done it for many years. In fact, before we did online learning, we were doing distance education, and then we did blended modality. And since I joined in 2008, we have fully gone online. So the times are telling, and students, lots of the courses you see that I have done, most of those courses, though, I still do short-term courses or continued professional education courses face-to-face. And the reason I continue to do those, it gives me an opportunity to facilitate learning. I don't see those as lecture. I never tell anybody I'm a lecturer. I don't put on my CV that I'm a teacher. I facilitate learning because for education at this level, it's really about andragogy. It's not about pedagogy. It's not teaching them chalk and talk. You have to appeal to them in different formats. And a lot of these persons that we now facilitate learning are they've been in their careers for 30, 20 years. And they have a lot to contribute to the discussion. So part of my workshop facilitation, I tend to do a lot of discussion where people can share. We do case studies where you can use your knowledge that you already have and applying learning to that. So it's a different modality, it's a different approach. And I think it works best for me. And that's why I think I found I was strategically placed in university setting because that's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy sharing knowledge, and at the same time, I'm learning. I continue to learn. I'm a continuous learner. I'm going to be a lifelong learner, So I'm learning as I go along as well.
Well, we know that you stay learning, and you not only stay learning, but you stay involved in what's happening not only here, but also in the Caribbean. Why do you find this important?
It's a part of my self-development, and I have always debated. I have a lot of colleagues who went away and studied, and when I look at all that I do, and they have their degree, we have healthy discussions about things to improve the country, but they're not volunteering, they're not giving back. I don't know why, and I see this as something so important that I have already groomed my daughter. My daughter does a lot of volunteer work. I just think that that's the only way we can give back and have input. Many people approach me, oh, why don't you run for politics? It's not the type of give back that I want to be involved in. Nothing is wrong with politics, don't get me wrong. And I have learned to say that I don't say I will never get involved in politics. I'm not interested at this time. It's not a part of the phase that I am experiencing, but I felt so passionate about giving my contribution. I think my mom had already instilled that in us. I participate at different arenas. I tell people I'm very involved in church, but at church, I would be the one serving food and stuff. I don't want a leadership role. Every sphere of life that I enter, I choose and I decide how I want to contribute. And it does not have to be at the decision-making table. It's not because I don't feel that I have to be at the decision-making table of every entity or every activity that I am at. I want to contribute. I want to volunteer. I do domestic violence. I advocate against that. And yes, I chair that organization, but a lot of that is giving of myself, understanding. And I feel like it's a conviction, and I feel contented when I'm done. I have assisted people for many years, and that makes me feel good. I don't know. I end up in limelight, but because of this job that I have, it's not because I want to be in the spotlight. But I love doing the back end. I facilitate sessions and stuff and help people, but that's just a part of me that says I can help to develop my country, help to develop resources through that type of sharing and giving,
You spoke just now about your involvement in working with people in domestic violence situation. Tell me a little bit about that and what it is that you do.
For years, I would think maybe a little over 12 years, I have been involved with Haven House. It's a shelter for battered women and their children. But a lot of it, we do advocacy work where we raise awareness and have to raise funds so that we can do programs and continue to share about prevention of domestic violence. And I got involved with this early part of my career. I had a friend who had decided to go and study very late in her time as well. And she was working with PAHO, and I think she had been involved so very long with this entity. And when I returned home from studies, she encouraged me to join, and I joined. And the same year that I joined, I was nominated for presidency, and I've kept that post. Every time I tell them it's time for me to go, I get re-elected. The 1 year we organized a walk. We call it walking of she shoes, but it was for men to walk in actual shoes. And I remember when the host from a news channel interviewed me, and she said, Plain, what made you get interested in domestic violence? Did you experience it? All these questions she's asking me. And I had no story. I always wonder about that. I have no story to share, to say, I am a survivor. I wanted to have one of those nice, catchy stories, but I didn't. I told the lady exactly how I got involved. I said, my friend thought that it was a place where I could share because we had volunteered when we were studying, doing all sorts of things. And she said, she thinks this is a fit, and I loved it.
What would be one thing that perhaps we as outsiders can do to assist in breaking the cycle?
I would say end the discrimination. You know, most of the time, it's our own families, and I listen to these women all the time. If they tell their sister, you know, I need to get out of the house because John is beating me, they send them right back. They're like, just go back, you know, everybody have problems, everybody. And the level of abuse, I'm telling you, even if it's emotional abuse, I personally, a strong woman of character, I can't deal with you don't even have to hit me. I can't deal with you nagging me and telling me or trying to berate me. I don't know if I had a relationship like that, I wouldn't be in the relationship. I would go crazy. So I can imagine people enduring physical abuse, economic abuse. They hold back money from them. They only get $10 and they have to cook a whole meal for 10 people, you know. So I think as small communities, we start with our own family members, because a lot of our family members are experiencing, but we're looking for the physical abuse. We're looking for bulgai and bus head and stuff. It may not be that, but it is some kind of abuse that they're enduring, and we keep telling them, go back, because everybody go through this. No, everybody doesn't go through this, and you don't have to go through this. And I think that is the spirit. We have now embarked on a campaign that we did look at dating violence, because our young people are also, they're being told the same thing. If you don't beat you, I don't love you, or they don't say it like that, but they leave you in a relationship. They don't have to be in that relationship. And more so, when you're dating, if you're dating, you can say up to get out of it before it gets out of hand. So a lot of the work now is going backwards and looking at when you start to date.
Me and my Marie shops in Lake.
Me and my Marie Sharp in Indiana.
I'm in Rhonda Beach, California with my Marie Sharp.
Me and my Marie shops in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Me and my Marie shop that are Hertfordshire, England.
Me and my Marie Sharps in Taipei, Taiwan.
Marie Sharp, world-class products produced in Belize. New Buildings Limited is the company of choice when it comes to design, fabricating and erection of wide-span metal buildings in Belize. At New Buildings, we have a team of well-trained professionals that can produce the most innovative and durable metal structures. Be it domestic or industrial buildings, we can get it done for you. We have put together some of the most outstanding metal structures in the country. We also do estimates and consulting. Visit New Buildings in Spanish Lookout or give them a call at 631-8723 or 610-5185. New Buildings Limited, the experts when it comes to metal structures in Belize. P-Tech has been in Belize now for more than 6 years. We specialize in residential and industrial high-quality glass windows and doors.
I'm Melvin Reimer from Discount Auto Sales. I chose P-Tech windows because I'm quite impressed about the way they're manufactured. These are double pane glasses. They're called low E. That keeps out a lot of the heat.
Check us out at p-tek.com or give us a call at 671-3842. P-Tech Windows and Doors, a leader in its class.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we believe our job is very essential in serving our customers. And that is just one reason why visiting us is an experience to be remembered.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we have a reliable fleet of trucks. We specialize in countrywide delivery of all our material.
Coop Sheet Metal is a family business that was started by my grandfather, who even had many of his machines hand-built decades ago to make our products the most reliable in Belize. Come visit us at our new facility on Iguana Creek Road just past the Belize River leading to Spanish Lookout.
Did you know that it's best to keep the lumber stored in a dry place?
At KT Enterprises, all our wood is stored in an enclosed space. To provide our clients with the highest quality,
we allow you to personally select your lumber if you choose, and we deliver countrywide.
Be it deckboard, beams, and imported hardwoods such as red oak and white ash. At KT Enterprises, we provide you with the highest grade in treated pine, construction grade plywood, and imported hardwood, delivered to your door.
We continue to build Belize by reforesting its pine forest. Visit us today at 2.3 miles Iguana Creek Road or give us a call at 671-0114 or 672-0114.
I chose Galen because of its strong reputation, great scholarships.
I came because I can take all my classes online.
Because Galen University opens doors to the outside world.
Their course offering in tourism.
It gives me more opportunity to become who I want to be.
If you want to connect with your inner champion to make the world a better place, then Galen is right for you.
Free t-shirt? The answer is yes! Get a free t-shirt at Caribbean Tire with every Valvoline oil change. Caribbean Tire, taking you home safely.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of Morning Matters. Dr. Saunders, welcome back. Before we went to the break, we were talking about domestic violence and the tolerance that is almost expected of us.
Rhonda, I think over the years I've recognized too is the gender role assignments that we have in terms of what women are supposed to do, what men are supposed to do. I am glad I had early discussion, and sometimes a lot of it is education. I'm not saying classroom education either. Reading, there's so much access to so much good information out there, but very early I realized parenting was nobody taught you to be a parent. The same thing, nobody taught you what happens with relationship, even sex. We don't learn what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to, you figure it out or you don't, right? And I think the role assignment is very clear in our society. Women are supposed to do this, that. People don't talk about dating. If you start date, you hear a different concept. It's not dating. They think you're sleeping with everybody. You're trying to find a partner. So there's a lot of education that has to happen. But one of the things that I tell young people when I do talk about dating, violence and dating, I tell people, you have to fix you before you can enter into any relationship with anybody. And some of the key things that you need to look out for, your self-confidence. How would you rate your confidence? Because a lot of people are very insecure. And that is where your partner harps on. If you are insecure about your boobs, your legs, your fat, you're too skinny, whatever, your partner will know that. They will know, they know how to turn it on and they know how to turn it off. So self-love, self-appreciation. A lot of us don't appreciate ourselves. We can't even take a compliment. You know, I am able to tell any woman, you look beautiful, and there is no hidden agenda. But women, we can't even appreciate a compliment because we think there's an agenda. Another thing is self-respect. How do you, what is your value? What things do you value? I do a lot of motivational talking and speeches, and I always include that. You have to have self-respect. You have to have values. And I hear everybody about, oh, well, if I have too much value, I won't find X, Y, and Z. It doesn't work like that, you know, and then they want to turn down their values to attract another, and then you want to turn that person into what you want. It can't work like that. So there's self-respect, there's dignity, and also I must say, if you work on you, you're better able to love, and you love you, you will have enough love in abundance to give somebody else. But oftentimes we're looking for somebody to give us love, to love us, and we don't love ourselves. So how will we appreciate? We don't have self-appreciation, so how do you anticipate? And so we look at setting those standards. And the standards also have barriers. What are you going to allow certain things to do, certain people to do with you? I tell my daughter this all the time. It is how you allow people to treat you that they grow accustomed to and they will treat you.
I'm going to stay here for a little bit longer because I see the importance in it. You say that the people must know what they want. A lot of people out there, they don't know what they want because they came from a place where the script was written so differently. The script says, as a woman, this is what you have to tolerate. This is what you should tolerate. If you don't tolerate this, you're not going to get this. And also for the men, the script was written to their disadvantage. So how do they strengthen themselves when they were given the wrong information for their entire existence?
And even though the script was written, I came, my mom and my dad, or my mom and my stepdad were never married, and they lived many years together. But I knew that that is not what I wanted for me. I did not see myself shacking up for many years. I thought I had too much value, you know, and I'm glad my husband came from a background where he had exposure to his grandparents who were married and all that. But still, even if he didn't have, I had a choice. I don't want to just be in a relationship. I don't know how people just get together and live together and then they're okay, and then they're not okay because they will say, you know, ask me if I'm married. I have an engagement ring for 15 years. But yet you're living with him, you're in a house, you have kids, and he didn't think it fit to marry you. And then they start to say these acceptable excuses like, well, if we get married, yeah, we are broke up. Like, you really start to tell yourself these things. I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just saying you start to hear these from them. And then I'd say, oh, because the script was already written and they don't want to define that script, right? But it has to come from a place of confidence. He has decided to spend 15 years with you, but you're not good enough for him to marry you. I'm not understanding that. You know, I can understand if both of you are together and both of you made a decision not to have children. People do that. I am still shocked, but I know people do that, where they decide we don't want kids. That's good. And I think we need to encourage people not to not have kids, but I'm saying encourage a decision making between two consenting adults that says, we're not ready for kids, or we don't want to have kids. That's fine. But we don't want to, I don't think in a relationship there's two of them who says we don't want to get married either. I think it's one person saying it and the other person adopting that and saying, and then they're miserable. They're very miserable because I want to be married and he doesn't want to be married. So we go back again to the place of communication. You did not communicate what you want. If you and I are dating each other, I think, and that's why dating is important, don't you start to talk about what you want to aspire for. He tells you what he wants, and then we see if they're aligned. It's not to start to change your one to accommodate him, or he has to change his to accommodate. It's to see if we're a match, if we can compromise, or if we can align our needs and goals to make us a compatible couple. But we don't get there. We enter into these hidden codes where we start, okay, we don't sleep together, so we might as well move in together. We like that good feeling. And then when you look, you wake up 15 years later, we're still at the same space. No advancement and no discussion about how we will advance as a couple, right?
Just similarly to what the journalist said to you back in the day when you had that walk in her shoe campaign. Somebody may say, you know what, Dr. Saunders, I hear you, but you don't fully understand and you can't fully appreciate the situation because truly you have never been in it. That may be the argument that you are faced with from time to time. What would you say to him or her?
Yes, it's true. I think it's a lack of experience. And I told you earlier on, I keep looking for that testimony that sounds so good like the others that make you say, oh, I had a transition from this. I don't have that story. But I do have experience of being in a relationship, and I know that it was not smooth, it was not peaches, and I know how I've had to handle situations. There were times when I had to put my foot down and say, look, if you don't comply with this, then I'm gone. You know, I've had to do that. You know, I had to make some strong, and it had to be some strong rules because the spouse also have their own idealistic things that they feel like that's how I saw my grandfather do it, so I will do it this way. And then we're like, no, we're not there. We have to come back to, this is our relationship, and you're not married to your grandmother, you're married to me, and this is how I am going to do it. So let's decide who gives up what. So I may not have had been in the shoe, as to say, but I have been in a relationship. I'm still in a relationship, a commitment that I made so many years ago. And you don't just sit and let it ride the tide. There's been some challenges that you also have to focus on how we bob and weave out of this together. Because that's the other thing. I could want to be in the relationship and he doesn't want to be in the relationship, and it's not going to work, you know, so.
Thank you for sharing that with us, because I think that kind of information is very vital and we don't get it every day. So let me say thank you for deviating to accommodate that kind of conversation for a little bit. So let's move back now to you as the head of UII Open Campus in Belize. Could you share with us what that experience has been like this far?
I can say, luckily for me, I've had experiences holding over. And actually, before I got my appointment, I was holding in this position for 14 full months. So the work continues. When people ask me, oh, I am now in the decision-making seat, but I've been in the other seat before, and I recognize that there has to be a lot of involvement. One of the things that I know definitively, I didn't have to get in the seat to know, is that collaboration is very crucial, particularly now when tertiary education will not be priority. And I say not be priority because a lot of skill building and training will have to happen so that people could adapt to new norms. Tourism, we notice tourism has been hit the hardest. What do we do with those people? So they need to be reskilled, retrained. And so a lot of it will come from collaborations. I have to collaborate. The university will have to collaborate with other entities to pull off training and to fund those training that we have to offer. I have my specific area of interest. I'm really, really passionate and interested in culture and indigenous population. And I've been doing research since I came here in 2008. I'm the lead researcher for the site, and so I continue, but now I get to select what I want to do, and I want to push, my thrust will be culture and indigenous people, and I want to encourage people, as simple things as our languages. There's so many people who speak Creole, but they can't write or read it. I want to touch on things like that. The same is true for the Garifuna culture. They've lost, they speak it, they're not proper pronunciation or enunciation, but they want their culture to continue. So we'll start with the languages, and I want to be able to offer those at the university so that people can learn anywhere you are, because you have children in the US who their parents never spoke Creole to, or they only talk to them in Creole, but they don't respond, and they may be interested in those type of courses as well. So I want to start to hit on culture. I think while we do, and we continue to focus on a national identity, we cannot lose our own individuality as different cultures. So I want to emphasize those.
You also said that this is a time where tertiary level education might not be as important to some students or some people because of the reasons that you have mentioned before. However, what is the university doing to support students that may have the interest, but in this time they lost their jobs, their parents lost their income? Is there anything being done to assist the students that already exist?
We are a regional university and we come with funding from regional governments. However, we have been able over the last few years to successfully raise funds for our local scholarships. Those will continue. We haven't halted those and we continue to offer those. And those cover from short-term courses all the way up to your education, to your PhDs, so to your doctoral degrees. So we will continue to do that. We still have a good relationship with government. I know and I've understood from them that they have had to cut some of those scholarships significantly, but we work with the government to ensure people continue to get their grants. And we at the university, we accept IOUs from the government. So if the government is giving you, they give you a letter, you have an authentic letter that says that the letter comes from the government to say we will sponsor them for X amount of dollars, we accept those and you could continue with your school.
Dr. Saunders, I say thank you for stopping and sharing with us this morning. Any final words?
Yes, I would like to just encourage people to, I know the struggle that everybody has in terms of educating yourself and achieving your educational goals. But I want to encourage you in your process of furthering your education, find time to volunteer, to share your knowledge in some format with others. I think it's very crucial to our national development. All of us have something to offer, and it may be just 1 hour out of your day, 1 hour in the evening, or even your Saturday, a few hours on Saturday that you can contribute. There's so many activities happening around the country, and I think our population who has chosen to educate themselves and receive a degree, find time. And I say you do it, maybe start with one organization or one individual, and then you expand on that. But just give back, because I think when we come back home or when we complete our degree, we felt that we did so much self-sacrifice and we want to catch our breath, and before we know it, we're moving on, or we have children and we have to tend to them. We don't find time. And I think if each person who has received anywhere from an associate degree up to your doctoral degree takes at least 1 hour, so that's like 5 hours a week, to contribute of your time in some area that you like, you love, or you're passionate about. Because I'm not telling you just to do anything. Find something that you love or you're passionate about. This world will be a better place. We start from home, we start from Belize, and then we branch off. And I think that for me would be my last message. Please just find, if you've never thought about it before, sit down and think about something that you'd like to help. You always see this and you say, I wonder how that entity run. And I do a lot of volunteerism and I don't get into their organizational politics. I do it because I'm passionate about it, and I stay away from all the politics because personalities get in the way, and that may have kept you from thinking about doing it. So I say, don't worry about that. Don't worry. I quarrel with a friend of mine. She always invited me to Rotary, and I said, I don't want to go there because I have my own thought about it. But I'm not asking you to get involved in their organizational politics. I'm just saying, give of your time and start with just 1 hour a day, an evening, or if you can't do it a day, 1 Saturday per week, and see how that goes. And then I think we would have a better place to live, and it will have a huge impact on your children, your nieces, your nephew when they see you. That's it.
Dr. Saunders, again, I say thank you.
Thank you.